Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Afrofood Diary. My name is Geraldine. If it's your very first time coming here, you're welcome. Thank you, all my new subscribers. I appreciate you, my returning subscribers. And in today's episode, we'll be making mushroom pizza pastry, a yummy mushroom pizza pastry. But before we go into that, if you're not subscribed yet to this channel, as a lot of you are not subscribed, please can you kindly subscribe and hit the like button if you like this video. Thank you. So for our mushroom pizza pastry, this is the major ingredient: mushrooms. Yeah, and of course I've gone ahead to wash it thoroughly, and I'm cutting them into halves because I want them to be visible when I'm done baking the pizza. Okay, yeah, but you can choose to slice yours into smaller pieces, but then the mushrooms will not be this visible. So, and you want to wash your mushrooms thoroughly as you don't want to get germs into your tummy. Yeah, so what I'm doing is removing the brown parts. Mushrooms are like they feel like velvet velvet material, so it's kind of difficult to wash the skin off. So what I'm doing instead is peeling them off and cutting off the tips. Okay, and of course I saved some while keeping the rest for this recipe. Okay, we're going to be using already made pizza dough, yeah, to make our work faster, but you can definitely make yours from scratch if you have the time. I will also be using this pizza sauce. This one has chili as I would want it to be warm. Okay, so and here we have about 200 grams of cheese, and then our mushrooms, which is about 3 big handfuls, or roughly 200 grams as well. So we have some fresh basil leaves because our pizza sauce has a basil base, and then we have the olive oil for making our sauce. Okay, let's clean up our work surface and get to business. The pizza dough, you need to read the instruction on the one you get from your own stores. Yeah, but this particular one need to be brought out from the fridge and allowed to rest for at least 4-10 minutes before use. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. And of course I've washed the basil I'll be using, and I've taken some out for garnishing while I'll be chopping up the rest of it. This is the amount of onions I'll be using because although the sauce is developed, I still want to add some stuffs to it, okay, to make it African, like to just add my own kind of taste to it. So I've sliced up the onions into tiny pieces, and I'm going ahead in this pan to turn up the heat at about medium to high, and then I added about 2 tablespoons of the olive oil, then transferred in the onions. I'll saute that for about a minute, and then I'll be adding the pizza sauce gradually, first starting with 4 tablespoons. And I turned off the heat immediately, not like turning it off. I turned it down to very low because the sauce is already prepared. I'm just sauteing the mushrooms, yeah, so we don't need so much heat. And on a closer look, this is what our mushrooms are looking like. We're not going to cook this to be soggy. Remember, we're going to be baking our pizza very soon. So, and I needed to add more sauce, and I ended up using the whole thing in that pizza sauce container, which was about let's call it 7 tablespoons, 6-7 tablespoons of the pizza sauce, or the pizza dressing. What do you call that? Yeah, so I'm going to mix everything together, and this whole sauteing process didn't take us more than 4 minutes because we want the mushrooms to remain firm and not soggy. Okay, so don't cook this for too long. So because I'm in a hurry, I'm going to quickly transfer this into this plate, and I'm going to go ahead and keep it in my fridge so it can cool down faster before I use it. It needs to be cool before you start making the pastries. So quickly I'll transfer some baking sheet onto my baking tray, and then I brought out this after about 10 minutes. By then it was a lot cooler. So I'm going to go in and put some of the shredded cheese into it just to kind of thicken it up. While I was making this sauce, I didn't want to add any thickener like maybe flour or something, but you can definitely thicken yours with flour if you want it very very thick. But I found out that cheese does the same thing for me, so I used that. And then I added the basil, if you can see that right now. I'll mix that in thoroughly and we'll get on with the rest of the process. So everything is set, and I gave my table a wipe and washed my hands thoroughly. Yeah, then we'll be going in a bit to roll out the dough. One thing I noticed with this dough is that it's really soft. It's going to give you a very soft outcome, like not too tough or crunchy. Yeah, but while working with it, you have to like really be careful so you don't kind of tear it up or mess it up. So, and of course I want to measure it into 3 equal parts like I just did, and I'll cut it up. Next, I will scoop on our rich buttery creamy sauce, mushroom sauce actually, into the center of the dough, like the 3 different parts that I've cut out. Okay, like I'm doing. Depending on the size of the dough you're using, you want to add as much of this sauce as you can be able to wrap up without it busting open. Okay, and once I'm done, I'll be needing that little bit of olive oil to wrap this up. Like I told us, the dough is really soft, and I don't want to introduce any other flour to it just so that it doesn't get hard. I want it really soft after baking it, like our regular pizza. Okay, so, and I went in to top it up with the rest of the shredded cheese, and you can see me rubbing my palm with the oil, yeah, before wrapping this up. Okay. So I did the wrapping on my bench top, yeah, and I'll be going ahead after wrapping it to transfer into a tray. But I will recommend that if you can, to do the wrapping inside the tray, like open up the dough inside the tray already, so that you wouldn't risk having to transfer it by yourself into the tray after you are done wrapping it. Okay, it makes it easier for you. I was able to do this because you know, say I be pro now. Okay, so, and the rest I just try to adjust it in the tray by moving them closer together, just to have enough space in between for each one of them. When doing this, you want to be very careful because this dough is very soft, which is good for these pastries. You don't want to use a hard dough at all. So next, I'll preheat my oven and I'll be using this pizza function and baking at about 180. And then I went on to make some virtual markings on it. I don't want to cut it yet. I'll be cutting it after baking, but I need those marks to be able to follow them when cutting it afterwards, if that makes sense. Yeah, so, and of course I created some openings so they don't burst open in the oven. So now is the time. Our oven is preheated, and it's the perfect time to put them in the oven and bake for not more than 12 minutes, depending on the power of your oven. You just keep an eye on it within the first 10 minutes, and see how they are doing. Okay, once they begin to turn golden brown and beautiful, then you would keep a closer look at it to be sure it doesn't get burnt and it doesn't over brown. Meanwhile, to pair it with, I'm here making some sorrel drink, some zobo drink, some hibiscus juice. Yeah, I have this recipe on my channel already. You can check that out, my healthy zobo recipe. So they are ready, guys. Let's cut it open and see what the inside looks like. Did you see that? Rich, creamy, cheesy mushroom filling. Oh my god, and the taste is just everything, guys. Another thing you can do while baking this is that halfway you can brush the top with some olive oil, with some butter, just to make it shine a little bit more. That is not necessary, but it is possible to do that. Okay, so now let me ask you, I've done my part. Have you liked this video? Please do that before you leave, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.